and Facebook and Twitch and YouTube and people's subconsciouses and Druna's mom.
You are locked into the Funk Show.
So all our consciousnesses and subconsciousnesses. So we've just started live now, so that means the YouTube recordings and everything have started. So the reason I asked Johan, I don't know, you're almost like a doctor, professor, teacher, His Highness Lord Johan Richards, knighted first of his name, last of his, Lord of the
Never been
Angles.
introduced as warmly as that, Brother Andrew. For the folks out there, just Johan for short.
Yeah, so this is a highly educated man in finances. He lectures on investment readiness and a lot of other things, and I'm very grateful that he was willing to jump up here and share some stuff. And without further ado, this is probably the most qualified person we could possibly find. That's incredible. So we're blessed to have you on in our circle. So today we're going to be speaking about how to get your project investment ready. So those of you in the Citadel Only Believe OSP ecosystem, we want you to take note. Obviously, as usual, B, myself, Dirk, whoever else will be tipping people who are sharing wisdom nuggets and taking notes. We want you to take note and then obviously see how you can help us, as part of the community. Whatever you learn from Johan tonight, help us get there, a lot of the stuff we can't do ourselves. We need community help because a lot of things look good on paper, but they need soldiers in war on the battlefield. So if you see things and hear things, you're like, hey, I can help with that, then be sure to mention it in the different groups, the WhatsApps, the Discords, wherever you are, the Smellygrams. But that's it. That's my intro. Very happy to have you on stage, Johan. Thank you so much. If you've got a presentation, go ahead and share it, and then I'll just move things around. So first thing I'm going to do
that was going to be my question. How do I add a presentation? I've got a presentation on my computer.
Okay, there's a thingy under there that says present or invite. Should be a thing that says present.
And then I can choose slides and PDFs or video file or image file. So it's slides, but it says you have no slides. I've got the slides open. So I'm old school. I'm a Zoom guy. So
okay, so does it give you a share screen option? Does it give you a share screen option on your present or invite?
It says we currently support Google Slides, PowerPoint in PDF. So let me upload. And let me see. I can get it. Share drive. I think I'm getting it now in my folders. And if I can get to the right folder, conferences, and then investment readiness.
So
let's see if that gets it opening up.
Pixel comes in here and says, I'm trying to work, but now Citadel's got me fired up, not able to do anything else. This is the way, Pixel. Is that Mariella? Mariella. There's a lot of like the Spaniards are watching us from all over the world. This is the way. So they like from Venezuela, like ¿cómo estás? Cocaína,
Muito obrigado.
The Bhutanese, obrigado. Isn't that Portuguese?
Muito obrigado. The Spanish have trying to understand that. That's the length of my
It's
Spanish.
Brazilian.
Where do I see the chat, Andrew?
Oh, that's
My
flowing in
investment readiness
Arena
presentation is
Social.
loading.
Oh, nice. It's loading.
Yes,
Nice,
so
nice,
it's not.
nice. Dun, 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 dun. No. I
You
remember
see,
when I was a woman. I mean, I was a man trapped in a woman's body for 9 months. You're aware of this, Johan? You know that about me?
aren't we all trapped?
Yeah, I mean,
at
I've even
some
got
stage
proof.
in a woman's
My
body?
mommy says that Uncle Funk is the apotheosis of manhood and that he has a unique perspective on the complexities of womanhood
Mhm.
because he was trapped in a woman's body for a whole 9 months.
Yes.
Spoken
People,
with lots of
Yeah.
wisdom.
Yeah, and there we go. Look at that. And people underestimate, the word apotheosis. So,
I'll
like the
immediately
top.
add it to my dictionary.
Yeah. And let's see. Yeah. So now we do this. Boom. Ta-da!
So
Congratulations.
I can
You
control it. Thank you very much. So we are
Yeah.
live. Thank you very much. This is my investment readiness deck. So just to help everybody and anybody that's interested in raising finance and funding, one of the biggest misnomers is that we approach investors, but we're not investment ready. And many times that's part of the challenge that companies face, startups face, entrepreneurs face, not understanding why they're not getting the finance and why they're not getting the funding that is required. So this is my deck. A little bit about myself. As Andrew said, I have done a few things in different spaces. I'm myself an entrepreneur, a founder, a startup founder. I have a management consulting company, and I also am a business advisor, leadership coach, lecturer, mediator, helping entrepreneurs to navigate this very difficult, sometimes exciting, sometimes rewarding landscape of raising finance and funding. I got a bit of background in academia. I've done my MBA at the Wits Business School. Just before we jump to that slide, where is my slides going? Okay. And I've been traveling extensively throughout Africa. So if you want to scan that QR code, that'll give you all my contact details. Feel free to share or link up with me on LinkedIn as well. So anywhere that anybody that reaches out to me, you're more than welcome to contact me if anything else comes out of the discussion. Quick, the slides doesn't present very well. What I was going to talk about are just a few areas. First of all, the understanding what is investment readiness, assessing your business. After I've got a bit of an understanding of investment readiness, we're going to look at how do we, as an investor, assess your business. And then a very important aspect is elevator pitch. You must always be ready at short notice to have the most important aspects of your pitch, elevator pitch, that you can pitch to an investor. You never, you're not always prepared to meet a potential investor or somebody that could introduce you to an investor. And for that purpose, you need to have a short, quick elevator pitch ready. And we're going to talk about what is essential to have covered in an elevator pitch. And then we're going to look a bit at assessment validation metrics. What is the metrics that investors look at? What metrics and validation metrics should you have at the top of your fingertips? Before we're getting to the crafting of an investor-ready pitch deck, talking a little bit after that about virtual deal rooms. If you have investor and you've now got your pitch ready and you're pitching to the investor, next thing to do would be to have a deal room that you can send forward your investors to, so that they can go and validate, do a due diligence. Now, setting up that deal room is essential right at the onset already when you start raising funds. And then lastly, navigating the funding landscape. What type of funding is available? What type of funds is available? Funding life cycles. There's a few bonus materials depending on how much time we've got that I can look at. Pitch deck structure as an example, what to do before the pitch, how to pitch, and some pearls of wisdom. Now, understanding investment readiness. As we said that investors are being approached, and I think one of the worst things for anybody could be to say that he's an investor, angel investor, venture capital investor, because the moment people see that on anybody's LinkedIn, you are receiving hundreds of pitches every day, and most of those companies aren't investment ready, and you miss the opportunity of that one shot that you've got of getting an investor's focus and attention when you approach him without being investment ready. Now, what does investment ready mean? Investors have certain expectations. First of all, it's critical that you have a clear vision, the why and the what. What are you doing? What is this problem that you're solving, and why are you doing it? What is the solution? Why are you in this space, in this business? And in the how, the business model. Most of the times we're so focused on the business model that we don't clearly articulate from the outset in your elevator pitch, the first few words that you have with an investor. He wants to know, what are you doing and why are you doing it? What is the problem? What is the solution? If you have that as an introduction ready and you're very clear on that, practice that in front of a mirror, practice it in front of friends, tell them in a short sentence, what is it that you're doing, why are you doing it, and how are you going to solve this problem? Then any investor invests because he wants returns. He wants return on his investments, whether that be an investor like an angel investor investing his own money, or whether that be a fund that is investing on behalf of investors that have given them money. They all want to look at what is the growth, what is the potential, where is this business endeavor going to lead to? And for that, you need to show what the market potential is. What is the potential of this venture of you growing and scaling, shooting out the lights, making a tremendous success for the investors that have backed you? And then obviously, a very important aspect that an investor wants for you to be investment ready is they want to know the financials are transparent, are sound, it's realistic. One of the biggest challenges investors are faced with is this funding that we're going to give the company enough? Because the worst thing you can do with an investor is start investing in a venture and then running out of steam, running out of capital, that you can't further deploy money. So as an investor, before you take that first investment, you want to be sure that the financials that the company is giving you is actually sound, is actually realistic, that you won't be caught in a situation where you've put in money but you don't have enough follow-on capital to ensure until the company gets to the point where they start generating returns. Now, most of the gaps, the most common gaps that one finds, that investors finds, is that there isn't supporting documentation. Most of the times people can articulate the what and the why and the how because they thought about it, and as they build their business, they've become a little bit more clearer on the expectations or from investors. How do they need to explain what they're busy with? They even might have a sustainable growth towards the market potential, and indicating that there's a big market and convincing it, and even have the financials, but they don't have the documentation to prove that, to support that. Any investor is going to do a due diligence. He's going to be looking at facts and figures, and for that you need to put up a deal room. And I indicated earlier that we will look at a little bit more detail at what needs to be in that deal room, what is the documentation that you'll need to have there. And the next common gap, people, entrepreneurs, founders are unclear about what is the real value proposition. Now, I typically use the example of Mont Blanc because value proposition sometimes gets misunderstood. And it's an incredibly important aspect of investment. Understanding what is the real value proposition for the investor or for the customer, for that sake. A Mont Blanc pen as a brand, very expensive, $1,000 pen, that's US. People don't buy a Mont Blanc pen merely as a writing instrument. If you wanted just a writing instrument, you would go for something cheaper. They buy it for various other reasons. So many times we as entrepreneurs, we as founders underestimate the importance of clarity of what is the real value proposition. Why is the customer ultimately going to buy this and use your product? We look at the obvious, the immediate thing, a pen, we think that is just a writing instrument. But it's actually something way more when you're paying all that extra money for a Mont Blanc pen as opposed to just a normal other pen. Other gaps is that many times founders have an inadequate understanding of investors' needs. Now, any investor has got personal, just like anybody else has got personal interests, areas that he's interested in. And if you do not fail to understand, if you fail to prepare, be prepared to fail. It's a short saying that I have. If you don't know who your investors are, the people are that you're approaching, and you don't know what their interests are, you're going to lose them. So just like any other relationship, you must be interested in what the investor is interested in. If your startup, what you're busy with, is not aligned with his personal goals and values and visions, there's going to be no interest from his side to dig in deeper into your presentation, listen properly. In the case of funds, where it's an investor that's not investing his own money, it even becomes more important to understand your investor, understanding what the investor's needs are. These investors have an investment mandate. It's not just money that they can throw around at anything and everything. So there's specific investment thesis that underlines his investment. So Synergos, for instance, the fund that I'm with, has a very specific investment focus on anything in Africa. So if you come to me with an investment project in Latin America, it could be the greatest, most amazing investment need, but the fund is focused specifically on investments in Africa. That ties my hands down for Synergos to not be able to invest any of the money that we've raised from investors anywhere else other than for projects in Africa. Now, that's a geographic focus. You could also have sector focuses. So some funds are sector agnostic, meaning they can invest in anything across the board, across the spectrum. Synergos, for instance, specifically has got 4 focus areas: agriculture, agtech, fintech, financials, financial applications, health tech, anything related to health, and then education tech, edtech. Now, the reason is, if you speak to an investor like me and you will approach me and you ask me about why those areas, there'll be a very specific reason behind that. Because for me as a person, as an individual, I'm a passionate activist for the economic development of Africa. My passion is to help Africa develop and to get Africa up to the same level as the rest of the developed world. I truly believe that Africa is at the cusp of doing amazing things. We're sitting with an enormous population, young. This is all the growth in the next 2 decades, 3 decades is going to be. And I'm staking everything that I have on the fact that Africa is going to be the next frontier. It's going to be the next place of development. Now, why am I telling you that? To show you that an investor could have a geographic focus, in our case, Africa, but then the explanation about the sectors that we are focusing on, there's a reason for that as well. That investment thesis took a lot of time. There's a lot of deliberate decisions taken when thinking about where to invest in and in what to invest. So for Synergos, the reason why AgTech is because 2/3 of Africa's population is subsistence farmers. And if you want to convert the subsistence farmers to commercial farmers, you'll have been able to give 2/3 of the population in Africa a meaningful job, an opportunity to generate money, not just be to survive day one from one day to the other, but to have the ability to produce in excess of his own personal needs so that he can have commercial income and have income that he could then invest, save for future projects and for future investment. Now, that will give you the second investment opportunity, the second area being fintech. And fintech, because if people might generate money through their main business, they need to invest money, they need to move money across to buy inputs for their agricultural produce, or we're sitting with many different countries, barriers to moving money around the continent. So whoever comes up with solutions to move money around, to save money, to transact in Africa is going to assist with the development of Africa. And then thirdly, because there's an increasing amount of people on the continent moving to urban areas, moving from rural areas to urban centers. That creates a change in the diets, and we've got an increasing prevalence of what we call wealthy sicknesses like diabetes, hypertension, because of the change of diets and because of a lot more stressful environments. And on top of that, Africa does not have the same amount of the ratio of doctors, specialists to patients that we see everywhere else in the developed world. And therefore, we need to have a health focus so that we can keep people healthy and give them quality of life. Lastly, I said education, because we're sitting with an enormous amount of youth. 83% of the continent is under 25 years. And that population is growing faster than anywhere else in the world. And it's for that purpose that we need to give training and education to give these people an opportunity to improve their own lives and to generate an income if they're no longer in the rural areas where they used to do subsistence farming. So that was just a quick explanation of what does an investor need mean? Where does it come from in my case? Now, if you take all of this together, and Andrew mentioned a little bit about my interest and involvement in the Citadel and in Only Believe. As an individual, as a Christian, I'm a faith-driven entrepreneur. I'm nothing without God. Everything that I have has been through blessing from Him. And therefore, my interest on a personal level aligns with all of these things I said to you that is in the fund. And that is the reason why, as an angel investor, I invested in Only Believe. Now, you'll see that I've given you quite a lot of information about me, why, what is the areas. And that is one of the biggest mistakes that founders make, is they do not understand, they do not know their investors. So inadequate understanding investors are most of the times one of the biggest problems why it doesn't help to just approach every single investor that says, any investor that says he's an investor. You need to understand your investor and what his needs and interests are. Now, going a little bit deeper into some of those aspects that we touched on when we spoke about the investor's expectation. How do we assess your business? What do you need to have? You need to be very clear on your problem statement. There's only two things that you are clear of at the onset. It's what is the problem and what is the solution? Okay, because if you're not clear on that there is a problem, if your investor, your potential investor doesn't see the pain point, the problem statement, he's not going to be convinced that whatever solution you come up with is going to either solve that problem statement, that pain point, or that there is even a pain point to start with, that the solution is going to be accepted. So being very clear on your problem statement and your solution is most probably the most important aspects to get right from the beginning. After that, we've got the market potential. As I said earlier, we want to see, an investor wants to see that there's potential for growth. I've told you about my areas. There's clearly a problem statement in every one of those aspects, any one of those needs that I've identified that the fund is focused on in Africa, in agriculture, in finance, in health, in education. And from a religious perspective, belief perspective, even on my own angel investment in Only Believe, there's a problem statement that the youth, the young people are exposed to gaming, but there's no game that teaches them about the Bible. So hence, in every aspect that I am interested in, there's a problem statement that is clear. That's the problem that we're trying to solve. For each of those, there's a solution. How do we solve in my angel investment in Only Believe? How do we solve giving people access to the Bible through a Bible computer game? How do we give people access to become sustainable farmers rather than subsistence farmers, commercial farmers, by giving them technology that they can use, by helping them to get into processing and get away from primary agriculture? The solution for health tech is using the technology that's available and that is elsewhere, and scarce specialist skills to then deliver the health solutions over with the use of technology. Same goes for finance, the same goes for education. Education platforms could solve and could leapfrog what other developed countries have in terms of infrastructure and schools. We can use the technology and the advancement of technology to leapfrog and to solve those problems. So clear problem statement, very clear solution. How do we solve that problem? Once an investor sees and understands your problem and your solution, he'll start delving deeper into the market potential. As you heard, I said Africa is one of the fastest growing economies. I heard the other day 9 of the 10 fastest growing economies is on the continent. That's the market potential. You talk about any business that you have, any business idea, any game that you develop, you need to be able to show the size of the market. How big is that market? So that whatever solution we are building is targeted towards a market, and it's big enough market so that you can sustain that. I always talk about lids. A market needs to be large because you want to grow and scale your business. And you need to be able to identify a potential customer segment in there. And the customer segments need to be identifiable, LIDS, large enough so that you can build a business towards it. Identifiable, that you'll be able to identify who your potential target customers are. Where are they? If you can't reach them through email, radio, even if that is a smoke signal, even if it's targeting communities in rural areas, you are able to identify who your target market is. And then distinctly different, because we are all unique. And if you can find a group of customers that share a problem and to whose problem or need, we can target a solution, I can offer them an opportunity to be distinctly different from any other form of solution that might be available. Think about how successful cell phones was. When Africa started out, when cell phones came into Africa, nobody thought that Africa will have any appetite for cell phones, purely because it's an expensive tool. It's an expensive piece of technology. Yet they underestimated how much the communication is valued by people in Africa. So completely underestimated the people when they started with cell phones, completely underestimated the value of the cell phone as a communication tool, as a matter of life and death, because there is no infrastructure. There isn't the same level of infrastructure that you find in the developed world. And currently, Africa is one of the biggest market penetration for cell phones, purely because that the market is big and it solves a different. And now we're talking about value proposition, the next point there. So the understanding the value proposition as a cell phone isn't a luxury item in Africa, but the value proposition of a cell phone is life and death communication, the ability to transact and do business, the ability to communicate when there's no other form of communication, no other way to get hold of someone in sharing information. So the value proposition is just like my example with the Mont Blanc pen, isn't always just the immediate what you think of it. It's also what it means for you and what value it has for you. Next point is that assessing your business is obviously your team. If you have a team, the Citadel team is one of the best teams the world has to offer in its space, creating tremendous developments and ingenuity in terms of solving a problem. The team is also aligned, so talking about the alignment of the team, but the team's capability, you can see their track record, you can see what they've done, projects they've been with before. So having an experienced team and convincing your investor that your team is capable of delivering what they said that they will do is a crucial element to be able to demonstrate that the people that we have on our team has done it before, are capable of doing it, and has the capabilities that is required, and they've got a proven track record of having done something similar before. And then lastly, operational readiness. Being ready that you can scale your processes. Typically say a small problem, once a business expands, becomes a bigger problem. So you are $1,000 short on your budget of the company. When you're a small company, it's manageable. You can still find $1,000. You can still pay off $1,000. If that business all of a sudden expand, and you 10x it, 100x it, that $1,000 becomes $100,000, becomes $1 million shortfall that you have a month. Now you've taken a small problem and just expanded it into a big problem. So being operational ready to show that your processes that's in place is scalable, the systems are there, and the financials support the operational readiness. So be very clear about when you assess your business and when you're pitching this to investors, that you have answers for all of these very important and critical aspects. Now, just wanted to see what it is, the page that was darkened out again. Elevator pitch essentials. There was a picture that was unfortunately not showing on this slide, but this talk about an elevator pitch. So when you're pitching, you seldom have enough time with an investor that you can do a half an hour sales pitch to him, explaining to him all the intricacies of what it is that you need to explain to him. And I had a slide here of elevator pitch essentials to say, what is the things that an investor wants to see? So first of all, the industry, the stage, how far are you in development? How much capital do you need? How long is that track record going to take you? In other words, if I say I'm raising $1 million, how long is that $1 million going to last me with the things I want to spend $1 million on? So important to show the investor where is his money going to take you. Then a very brief description, a one sentence, one liner. What is the core of your business? And talking about the target market we spoke about, who's the customers, what are their characteristics, how do you calculate the market size, is that market growing, is it stagnating, and where is it going in the future? Problem and the solution, what is the real problem or the need, and what is the solution that you're coming up with? Is it better? Is it faster? Is it cheaper? Is it a stronger brand? Is it what is the core value proposition that makes this different from any other solution that is available? And then what's your revenue model? What is the revenue model for making money? What is the revenue model going to look like? Now, that's the slide that unfortunately didn't display. And then have an assessment validation matrix. What is the most important aspects? The TAM, SAM, and SOM is talking about the market, total available market. How big is that market? The service available market is the area that you are focusing in on. What part of the business market are you focusing? And in the TAM, SAM, and the SOM, the service obtainable market is that portion of the market that you think realistically you can obtain. So be clear of showing the metrics. How many team members have you got? How many months of runway is this going to give you? What is the growth rate that you expect? So just have a screen, have a slide that you can give the most important validation metrics to validate what it is that you say you're doing. Then crafting an investor-ready pitch deck. Now that we've got understanding of what the investors' expectations are, looking at your business in terms of the assessing your business. We talked about the elevator pitch. What is the essential items that you need to be able to convey to an investor in 2, 3, 5 minutes? Because you've got the length of the elevator from the floor that you're getting into to the top floor to quickly explain to him what it is that you're looking for my investment for and what is it going to do. We talked about those elevator pitch essentials. We've talked about what is the most essential validation metrics that you need to show. When it comes to crafting this investor-ready pitch now, we spoke a lot about the problem solution already. These are the 4 things that you need to be able to explain. What is the problem? What is the solution? What is the market traction is another aspect that's important that we haven't spoken about. How far have you gone? Have you got any clients? Have you got any gamers playing the game already? Has there been alpha tests, beta tests? How many people have signed up? People on the school sign up to learn more about the Citadel. How many people are listening to these calls every day when they're streaming? What financial projections do you have? What do you have in terms of the costs? And as I said earlier, not just the cost that you say, you need to be able to demonstrate that those costs are realistic and that you're not going to run out of finances somewhere along the line because your investor has allocated a certain portion of funds and then he realizes, but it wasn't realistic. And now he's requiring additional funding to be put in. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, we all want to exit. As an investor, you invest so that you can get returns. If it's a fund, it's even more so. I need to give back the investors that invested in the fund. I need to give back their money at a stage. And if I don't give their money back with returns, I'm not going to get money in from them as an investment again. Even a private investor, an angel investor, he's getting older, he needs retirement funding, or he's investing so that he can get that funds out at a certain stage to put his kids through school, retire, build invest in something else. So nobody's giving you funds for an unallocated amount of time. So what is the exit strategy? Where do you expect to exit and give the returns to the investors that has invested with you? We spoke about when you're doing the speech now and you're able to convince your investor, you need to have the backing, the documentation to back you. What is the documentation that you require? Legal documentation, business registration, shareholders agreement, any legal documentation, tax certification, tax clearance, all of the legal documents that you require. If you are trading in doing business in regulated industries, regulations that you required to adhere to. In the medical field, there's in financial industry, there are regulational aspects that you need to do. Then secondly, have your financial documents, because in your pitch deck, you're just giving a snapshot overview at the best of time. You're giving some projections, but there's no basis for those projections for an investor to understand whether that's realistic. So have all your audited statements, your cash flow projections, your budgets, your assumptions, all your financial documents need to be in your deal room. Then be ready for due diligence and have all the due diligence information, contracts. If you need to show what is the traction, if you need to show how many people have signed up for your subscription, for your service, have those ready for a due diligence so that you have the checks, the contracts, the regulatory, the tax compliance documentation ready so that the investor can do a due diligence. And then lastly, anything that you have in terms of patents, trademarks, proprietary assets, anything that you need to show your product being unique, if it has any form of trademark or intellectual property protection. Now, navigating, I see this is one of those slides again that's sadly very dark. Navigating the funding options just talks about what types of funds and funding is available. And that talks about the different stages of funding. So, and typically an angel investor is your first investor that you'll get. And the angel investor very aptly is called an angel investor because these are the people, just like angels, protecting you every step of the way. These angel investors are your first initial investors. They believe in you and they will back you just based on the story, based on believing in you more than anything, because it's still very early days. You might be pre-seed, pre-revenue, and you just have an idea. So an angel investor is typically friends, family, and fools. Friends and family comes natural because those are the people that believe in you, they know you, and they know that you are willing and what you are able to do. The fools refers to people that don't know you, but believe in that what you are starting to do, that problem that you're trying to solve. And it's jokingly referred to as fools because they've got nothing else to go on, and there's very little traction, there's very little proof that you are even able to do what you say. They're not friends and family, so they don't know you that well. They're not vested with you as an individual as such, but they believe in what you're trying to do. The next level after that is your typical venture capital investor. Venture capital firms take on early risk, take on early investments because they see the potential for upside. And that's the next level of investments, where it's no longer individuals like angels using their private funding, but it's more the investors investing in a fund, and the fund then has a very clear investment mandate and thesis in which they will then invest into certain areas, like I've explained earlier, the Synergos investment thesis and the areas that they invest in. Following that will be private equity. This is company that is staying in for a longer period. The typical venture capital investment is a 5-year deployment to exit 5 years later. So total period of 10 years from the first investment, the inception of the program, the inception of the fund, until they have to exit. That period is 10 years, so that any investment, even the investment that you make in year 5, has got 5 years to mature so that you can exit and then return the funds. A private equity fund, on the other hand, is a longer term fund. They typically are more into the dividends that you're going to pay out. So your pension funds many times are following a private equity approach because they want the dividends, because every month they've got to pay back the pension of the funds that they've invested to pensioners, to people that wants to get the dividends. And private equity is in many instances a longer term investment, reaping the dividends from a operating company. You've also got development funding institutions. I call these the alphabet soup. Business Investment Africa. There's the UK development funding institution, GIZ. They typically have 3 or 4 3 syllables, 3 letters, the alphabet soup. World Health Organization, United Nations, all those development finance institutions, a lot more difficult to get funding from them because they've got very bureaucratic processes. And then lastly, you've got crowdfunding platforms where masses of people crowdfund because they would like to see this startup succeed. Very important to choose the right investor. To choose an investor not because they've got money, but also that they're aligned with your vision. The last thing you want to do is team up with an investor that don't share the same values that you have, that don't see the same vision, and that can't introduce you to potential companies that can help you along the way. So you don't want to just get money. I know that you, in the beginning days, are eager to raise finance and funding, but you want to get an investor that don't only give you money, but that has an industry expert and that has got a network that they can introduce you to, that they can help you, that can open doors for you, that can make you a self-fulfilling prophecy by allowing you to get into the right rooms and get into the right places that they can take you and help you and assist you. So make sure that in terms of negotiation tips, that you've got your valuations, fundamentals clear, and how you structure the deal in such a way that it's fair and sustainable to everyone, investors included. So I don't know how we do about time. Andrew, you said I've got 30 minutes, so that is the time. There's some bonus material, but that's just in short. Don't want to overstay. I don't know. I can't see the chat, so I don't know if there's any other questions from anybody.
Yeah, gaan maar voort. People are enjoying it.
You maybe can ask if there's questions.
Yeah, no, keep going. You go into your bonus material. People are enjoying it. So yeah, gaan maar voort.
Okay, cool.
Very good so far. Thank you.
So, thank you. So, just a couple of extra slides I have typically at the end, which I can share with people if you reach out to me on LinkedIn. But there are examples of what constitutes a good pitch deck template. This is by Venture University. I'm a venture partner in Venture University's VU Venture Partners Fund. It's a $100 million fund situated in Silicon Valley. And this is the most downloaded and viewed pitch deck in the world with more than 750,000 downloads. So it's investor validated, it's proven, there's multiple formats. Understand that, as I said, there's a pitch deck for elevator pitch. That's only your 5 most important slides. Then there's a mid-range pitch, about 10 slides. At maximum, never go, as a rule of thumb, more than 25, 30 slides. So multiple formats, and the slide deck provides the opportunity for that. The foundation slides is the first 5 slides. It's your elevator pitch, the problem, the market opportunity, the solution, and the team. So no more than 5 slides to do the foundation. Then slide 6 to 10 is all about validating, traction, evidence of who your customers are, what have you done so far, what is working, your competitive analysis, revenue model, expenses, all of the slides that needed to validate your pitch. And in slides 11 to 15, now we're digging into the financials, because if your investor gets to this point, he wants to see the projections, when are you exiting, what funding requests do you have, what's the amount of funding that we need, how will that capital be deployed, where will the money be spent, things like that. So that gives you the 15 slide deck. Okay, and this is now, sadly, again, I don't know why some of these slides are, but I can share this with you. This basically is just a breakdown of all the 30 slides, and then you'll see the red circles was all the optional slides which you can cut out if you want to bring the 25, 30 deck to 15. What can you cut out? And then what can you further cut out so that you can have the elevator pitch slides only? And then best practice in terms of design, have it clean. Have a clean deck so that there's not too much distraction about what the message is. Have a very strong visual impact. Show your company, show some tractions. I like the Citadel graphics at the back of this presentation that's on the projection. Shows something that relates to what you're busy with. Make the slides self-explanatory. You don't always have the opportunity to sit with somebody, take them through the slide. So make sure that the deck is readable without you being there, because you sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times send out your deck to investors, hoping that they're going to open the deck, read the deck, and understand the deck. And then get a consistent format so that it reads easy. If you're reading pitch deck after pitch deck after pitch deck, as many investors does, there's nothing worse than have something that doesn't read easily, that isn't easy to present. Technical specs, make sure that you use a font that is easily readable. I suggest Arial. Do a minimum of 20-point text size so that people can read what actually is on the slides. Otherwise, it becomes too small and you need to focus. And be consistent with your page numbers and your capitalization. And then choose a color scheme and a background that makes it easy to read as well. Light text for contrast, white backgrounds. You've seen that I've got a couple of slides that I need to go back on that didn't upload on this format so easily. So that is just a good point in case to say, had this been an investor presentation, you would have gone through this presentation on the medium before you present it, before you pitch it, and you would have seen these slides doesn't work and been able to fix it. So make sure that your color schemes allow for this. And then prior to pitching, prepare. Remember I said, if you fail to prepare, be prepared to fail. So research who your investors is. What portfolio companies have they invested in? What is their investment thesis? What is their values? What interests them? Most important aspect is be very clear on who your target audience is. Who are you speaking to? What are the things that's important to them? Secondly, get introductions. I've invited you to go and follow me on LinkedIn, to reach out to me. If you do in a chat, in a message, say to me, we've met at this place. I've seen you present at this conference. It helps because now I have a relationship. I can place you. I know that this is not just somebody that's picked up my name randomly. The same way, if you are being introduced by someone to me, the chances that I'll read your pitch deck, that I'll focus and attempt and give it attention is much higher if you've got a warm connection that has introduced you and said, listen, Johan, won't you listen to Jamie? He's a friend of mine, and I would like you to just listen to what he wanted to offer. And then practice. Practice makes perfect. Okay, master the timing, the transitions. Make sure that the slides go up. Practice, practice, practice. Okay. And lastly, make sure that you understand the logistics, not like I have done tonight by just pitching up and not being on the platform before and being able to check my logistics. Arrive early, test the technology, make sure that you are in control of the room when you're pitching. And then lastly, in terms of due diligence, look at what the portfolio is. An investor's portfolio will tell you a lot about why they invested it and where they invested. And look at the investment criteria. What is it that they focus on? What industry? Check the size of this investment, the stage, the financial sizes of their investments. How long have they been in? and do background research. Find out everything and anything about the fund before you approach the fund, so that you do your due diligence on the investor, just like the investor is going to do his due diligence on you. And then on the pitch, have something opening slide to hook them, get them in the first minute. That's the biggest impression that, just like normal relationships, first impressions last. And tell a story. It's all about a story. You need to tell your story in such a way that the audience, that the investors finds it exciting and follows your journey. There's nothing worse than being lost in the process. And then focus on what you're pitching, not just the current state, also what is the future potential. Understand the risks and be very clear on what your vision is, why you want to do it, where you want to go, but also what the risks are of potential failure and what would be reasons why something's not working, so that your investor gets a full rounded view from your side, and connect with your audience. So presentation, best practices, just choose the right opportunity, have your team there, have the right team, be clear with your communication, and as far as possible, do a live demonstration to show what it looks like. If you've got a game, show what the game is going to look like. If you've got a product, show the product and how that's going to burn. So last words of wisdom is 10x better focus. So dominate one area rather than being marginal in 10. Choose one area that you are 10 times better than anybody else. Solve one problem, not a little bit of many problems. Choose your customer and priority for the customer. And then understand that not every pitch is successful. I think it was Jeff Bezos that said he pitched 80 times, 80 investor pitches before he got his first investment. Embrace rejection. Understand that you will go through many pitches, and each pitch, like a sales pitch, normal sales, it's exactly the same way. You get better over time as you pitch and present the idea over and over again. So do not take the first rejection. Don't take the early rejections. If you can't sustain yourself, you'll never be able to raise. So take it in your stride and get back up. It's not about how many times you've been knocked down. It's about how many times you got up. And pivot when needed. If you see that you get consistent pushback on a certain area, look at how you can pivot to accommodate some of those feedbacks. And then traction wins. Most important aspect is do not underestimate the value of showing what you have done, how many people have signed up, how many people is already embracing your platform, and that. So on that point, Andrew, I'm a little bit over time, but you said I should continue. Is there any questions? Anybody that has got any questions or anything that I can maybe in the chat?
Good job, man. Let's have a squiz and see if there's any questions in the chat. Rob, I don't know if you guys want to come up on stage. We got Leonard, we got Rob. I'll bring Leonard up. I don't know if I'm catching him by surprise. Bringing Rob up on stage. And then I'm just going to go and check the questions. Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, all I'm getting here is great
avatar, like all of you guys.
Sorry, man. Let's put my camera on. My bad. Yeah, those are funkies.
Yeah, I saw them on LinkedIn. So love the funkies.
We're actually, yeah, the funkies, they're everywhere. We'll get it. We'll
looks like Rob as well.
A funk rich. Yeah, Rob, you're gonna make one for Jan quickly. You just type in Phil Collins and then you've got it. that we give him is funky.
Phil Collins is fine. I'm fine with going with Phil Collins. I've been known to have been associated with F.W. de Klerk. So
Yeah. Yeah, when I shave my beard, they say I look like the front man of Metallica and a bit of Will Ferrell. Don't mess with CEO Rob.
yeah.
I think it was great.
So I hope that was enlightening to some.
I'll show you something insane, Johan. That is will probably I don't know. You'll probably either really like it or really not like it. I think I sent you a linky. It's our agile concurrency presentation, which is part of a pitch to help some VC understand, what we're building. Yeah, look at this. There's comments flying in. Everybody loved it. No questions. They're all just saying it was really good. They loved it. Great presentation. Broden says, I ain't got any questions, but I enjoyed the understanding on how to approach investors as a project. So there's just praise ringing out in our chat section there. And someone, you even got Alhamdulillah, that was good. Alhamdulillah. Which is, Enjoy 1, 2 also dug it. Please hold while I find the very challenging and difficult thing that we're working on. I love with Gemini Canvas, you can actually prompt active. I'm going to share it now. Just letting it load. You can actually share active presentations. It actually builds full-on active presentations. Share screen, which is, it's like so cool. Check here. Look at that. So we're building out a full-on presentation in Gemini, and you just like prompt it. You say, make a presentation with this, that slide, this. I mean, it's like 18 slides where we just explain agile concurrency. So we've come up with that name ourselves, Johan, because
fantastic. Agile concurrency. I love it. I saw this when you shared it with me.
Oh, nice.
I've gone through it. Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah.
Where
So
one
what did you
horse
think
spins, the other draft in his wake.
Yeah. So it shows how we're building. Hey, check how small everything is. It's so irritating. Well, it's not for me because it's on a big screen, but for everybody else, it's teeny weeny. But yeah, we talk about. I'll just get to a place because we've got so many people watching. We don't want them to die of boredom. So it's got all the different ways. I'm going to build something like this for Only Believe as well. But yeah, you can see it's so the one thing we run into is most of the time, you're at your investment pitch, people who, especially if you're pitching disruptive tech, something that people haven't heard of or they don't understand, or you're building in a way that they're not used to, because they're so used to giving you, yes, $5 million. Then at the end of the $5 million, you built something, but it didn't work. So we prefer to do something called agile concurrency, which means we build pieces of the project that can be tested. So our milestones are concurrently, yes. So that means, yeah, you can check, and then you have a discussion as a team. You have a discussion with investors, and you say, okay, we pumped this in there. That worked really well. That didn't work. So over here, people can't really see, I don't think, but that one over there is OSP NPC. That's a Citadel. That's the Potato Mobile. So Potato is our nickname for things that are small, Pop this in your gem and tell it what's the.
I like the potato mobile, yeah. But it also is following the design thinking methodology. Agile and design thinking very similar, very closely related. But I think your concurrently agile concurrently is very similar to design thinking, which was a concept developed by Stanford, and that is the basis why all software is released version 1. Then they fix it. Everything doesn't work. Then you go back, you fix it, and then it goes to release a second version, and a third version, and a fourth version. So in line with the presentation that I've just done on investors, being able to explain the need and your solution, and then to test it concurrently, regularly upon one phase after the other, builds that confidence and gives you the traction. Even if the traction wasn't so successful, if that part of the build wasn't completely successful, it helps you to give you the investors back. Listen, this is what we've done. Now we're improving that, and before we go into the next release. So yeah, very much in line with what we teach at Stanford as design thinking.
Well, that's awesome. So yeah, because you find that, and I think for everybody who's watching all over the place, you will find that explaining your concept, especially if it's a new concept, is going to be complex sometimes. It's going to be very difficult. We had an investor who didn't just reject us yesterday or the day before yesterday, also sent a thing. It was literally just insults, and we realized, okay, this guy's got depression and he shouldn't be in Web3. But still, what we learned from it is we need to be able to simplify and communicate the concepts properly ourselves. So often rejection comes from a lack of knowing how to communicate your idea and underestimating how dumb people are. So when I was in marketing, I had a very high. Ek hoor kinders. Is dit jou kinders, John? What is
it? You hear anybody in the background?
Yeah, you're like little kids. I was like, thought, is that my kids? I was listening nicely. Anyway, yeah, so when I was in marketing, I just arrived there and I worked with this lady's name was Mandy Crocamp, and she had like this incredible pitch land rate, like incredible. But she was the most, it's like vicious, eh? You know, I mean, she would swear the clients and at a pitch, she would just freak out at the clients. Like Alan Craig, who was the CEO of Vodacom at the time. You know, we were busy pitching to. So Vodacom, for those of you around the world, that's our biggest telecommunications, mobile telecommunications company in the country. And we pitching an idea, and I was there. I was a junior creative director. I'd just become a creative director, and they stuck me with Mandy. Mandy was at that point the only recognized tactical creative director possibly on earth. She was just a genius. She snorted cocaine all day and took sleeping tablets and at night to go to sleep. And she's just like the whole time. And you know, I had the pleasure of being assigned to go and serve and learn, you know. And yeah, she would just like swear the clients, and I was like, why can she get away with this? You know, like, because they all sit there like these mega blue chip CEOs sitting there listening to her freak out, you know, because you know, I remember Alan Craig striking up this mega CEO striking up a cigarette. Oh no, he's not. Yeah, he comes in there. And then she strikes up a cigarette in the boardroom. It's a big no smoking sign. She strikes up a cigarette. He just told one of his people to get out of the room because they started smoking. But she's smoking and she's swearing them and calling them stupid and all sorts of names. And they just sit there and listen. And I was like, what is going on here? And, you know, afterwards, my boss, the boss of the company, so it's her boss as well, because I went to her and I was like, hey, don't want to dishonor Mandy. I just want to understand what just happened in there. How those guys, what just happened? And she said, well, people respect simplicity. They'll put up with anything if you take the time to explain things to them in a way that they wanted to explain. And the reason Mandy's at the top of her game is because she studies the people she presents to. And so part of my job was to learn. She used to do these mind maps on these big flip paper thingies, and everybody called them mind Fs, not mind maps, and I had to learn how to decipher it, make it simple, and then get the brief done so that the designers would turn it into presentation. But my point here is she was so good at deciphering what their client wanted and then presenting it in a way that they could understand, that they would put up with anything from her. Like her land rate was so high. And so when it was my turn to start pitching and stuff, until, an incident that was entirely not my fault. It was a nepotism incident. I had a bloody employee that was forced upon me, but I had 100% land rate because I applied her principles. And the highest principle that she said is, she said, never underestimate how dumb, overwhelmed, busy, and uninterested your potential clients are. You are one of 1,000 people trying to get their business, one of 1,000 people trying to get their money. You don't matter. You're an irritation until you're not. So when you go in, don't overwhelm them with your way of doing things. Find out what is their way of doing things. Go in there and pitch in a way that is exciting for them, and try and make it awesome for them, because part of what they're going to invest into is your passion for the project, your passion for them being involved in the project. I think one cool thing Anthea said to me was, people with money usually have everything they want already. You need to become another prize, another trophy. Your project needs to feel like something that goes on their shelf. And if it's something that they like, they might not even worry about profit. They'll just want it to happen because you've presented it in such a way that this is like awesome and fun for them. I'll just share this last thing, and then maybe you can share some comments on it, Johan, and I'm hoping Rob will jump in as well. The one guy that I pitched to, his name was Vivian Atterson. He had a company. I mean, it's been a long time, 20 years or whatever, but it was called Neo Africa, I think. And that guy had so much money that he bought so many different exotic sports cars that to dodge the tax, he turned it into a sports car rental, an exotic rental company. So he branded all his sports cars, like the top of I'm talking a fleet of Lamborghinis and Aston Martins, and I drove his GTR for a while, like whatever. He had all these cool, like a fleet of the things. And so when I went to pitch to him, I realized that this guy literally didn't need anything. There's nothing that we could impress him. There was nothing he needed. For him to get involved in what we were doing had to be a simple case of, what is it that excites this guy? And what excited him was he is a nerd and he just wants to hang out with the cool kids. So my whole pitch, I got there, my business pitch to him was 1 page, and my hang out with the cool pitch to him was like 50 pages. And I landed that pitch. I didn't only land the pitch, he brought all his nerd friends as well. I think that was more than he's like about I'm just converting to dollars. Probably about $15 million. I landed that pitch landed
Yeah.
in South Africa.
Yeah, so that talks to my first slide, which talks about the common gaps. Very much like you said, where it says inadequate understanding of the investor needs and interests. So we are still social animals, human beings, and as such, you relate to someone that you relate to. That's touching on and talking about things that's interesting. There's that famous quote: people are most interested in talking about themselves or talking about things that they are interested in. So your example is very, very pertinent in that space where he wanted to hang out with the cool kids. I have a similar investor, Andrew Zalassen is my partner in Synagos Venture Partners. He's one of the richest. You Google Andrew Zalassen car collection, and it'll tell you that he's got a $40 million car collection. And Andrew is interested in exciting tech stuff that changes the world. That's why he's an investor. He's known as the most loved VC in Silicon Valley because he's a nice guy, and he's taught me to always be respectful about people pitching to you, because this is their dream. You might not see the value in it, but it's still someone's dream. And if you can give him good, positive feedback, that is invaluable. He will always remember you. Now, just like you remember this investor, when you pitch to him something that is of interest to him. In Andrew's case, he's also a car fanatic. He buys and test drives all the latest cars. He's got all the cars that you can think of almost in terms of this flashy, fancy. But you talk about cars to him, you have his attention immediately. So very important, learn the interests of your investors. When you speak to them, what is it that makes them tick? Exactly like your pitch. We want to talk about things that we are interested in. And if you know what that person is interested in, you can immediately get his attention. He might not invest still, because he's still going to make an investment decision. So for some reason, your investor, apart from you touch on an area that's very important for him, wanting to hang out with the cool kids. And if he gets that, he's willing to pay money for that because he's got everything else. At a certain point, money, who was it? Elon Musk that said, at a certain point, I think it was Elon Musk in one of his speeches that says, the first $10 million, first $1 million is the most difficult to make. The next $9 million to get you to $10 million goes easier. But after that, the money more is like giving you diminishing returns on what else you can do with that money. Between $10 million and $100 million, there's very little that you can offer any of those people other than what they already have. Know what they want, know what their passions are.
Rob?
Yes.
Then are we able to listen to
Yeah,
anything?
Bits and pieces, yes. Yeah, I think I mean, for me, that approach with, like, if you're pitching something or a meeting, I mean, for me, its core simplicity is if the person is willing to meet, they, in their mind or whatever, they're looking for an opportunity or they've got a problem. And like what I do in the kind of education pitch deal, especially with the corporates, is, you know, you just have a conversation to identify what are they trying to solve, and then your offer or whatever it is you put together revolves around that, the solution, you know. And it's the same thing if they're looking for an opportunity. It's like, okay, what kind of opportunity are they looking for? And then based on that two-way communication, you can kind of, you get the basis of what opportunity they would be interested in, and then that's your pitch, you know, or that's your offer to them.
Indeed, and therefore you need to listen. A lot of times in these pitches, the biggest skill is the ability to listen, so that you don't miss what is that opportunity or that he's looking for.
No, 100%, and I think that's a critical skill with like the good sales person versus the excellent one, is like the ability to like be very listening attentively, you know, if that's a word. So because if you see the second you losing interest in the person, like let's say you've got, I don't know, 10 streams of consciousness that you can talk about, and you start talking about the one, and the second you see there's a slight disinterest or a slight wandering off of the person you're talking to, you've got to instantly drop that train of thought and switch into something that you believe would be, well, you'll see if it's more interested, and the person is very interested, then you dive in on that stream of thought, you know?
Yep. So we're all selling at all times, whether it is when we're meeting someone new. The skill is to understand that we are always selling something. We're selling ourselves, we're selling an idea, we're selling a pitch deck, we're selling a product. That's what all relationship revolves around.
No, 100%.
I'm busy fiddling around here. I'm going to share. This is quite a cool thing. So it's a nice tool for anybody who's watching here. Let me just find a mush. No. Mush. Stop at the screen. Yo, what up, Jay Sound?
What up?
I'm waiting for this other stream to start, then we'll say goodbye to everybody, but we'll keep teaching until they fire it up. And there's a major stream starter that Brandon asked me if we could send a swarm of people over to someone they're trying to get to join Ballerina. But first I got to sing mush, mushy, mush, mush, mush. Okay, so this is Gemini. It's pretty awesome. So over here on your tools, you just click Canvas. Then you could use Gemini to build out the prompt, but I'm so used to having conversations with GPT. So then I just paste in my whole. So I asked GPT to, I had a whole conversation about Sura that we're going to pitch to. And then the project title is there, Sura, blah, 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 purpose, blah, 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 blah. It tells you what it wants to look like. There's even color, blah, 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 blah. So it's in the Canvas thing. And then when you hit go, so what Canvas does is it actually creates an active demoable website presentation. So that thing that I was showing you just now, see, so right now it's building everything. So let's go to the other place. So for pictures, if you don't have designers and stuff like that, like you can see this page that I'm on now, this is actually active. You're going to dig this. Check at this. I can actually move things up and down and all. Look at that. That's cool, eh? Yeah, on my
very nice. I love your color schemes.
It's very pretty, yeah.
Very citadel-y.
It's all very
right.
I've got to get the writing to scale up. Yeah, it is very OSP citadel-y. It's a bit too glowy, I think, but like so this was all just putting in like a prompt. So I think, let me see if there we go. See, so it's coding this thing itself. And it's busy building out an entire website presentation thing. And and you'll see now it's going to preview. It's going to automatically preview something like that. So the whole pitch for Sura, which has probably got tons of wrong information because I didn't read over it, and GPT tends to hallucinate. Let me just quickly see if that thing here started. The funk show
We're
is still
talking
there.
about Hallucinator EP, the other,
Yeah, geez,
other AI model.
yeah, it hallucinates. Like absolutely incredible. Mush, mushy, mush, mush, mush. No. See, I've structured. Here we go. Check it this. And I don't know. That was around about 2 minutes. Look at that. See the vision, what you own. So we don't know if they've got 500K, but we're gonna start there with them. So it's see the vision, what you own. So you click on see the vision. Look how nicely it did it. That was just from a prompt. When we met the Sura team, something clicked. You didn't talk like investors, you spoke like creators. You're the first VC who shared our values, passion, and belief that gaming can unite the world, you know? And there's all the stuff we're offering them. 80% of all our profits, because that's what Rob likes. He likes to just put there what investors get, 80%. So I did that for you, Rob, because I know you like to...
Please hold.
He's going to drive to my house and beat me.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah, opening activation, Sura Turret NFT collection, 25,000 playable, upgradable NFTs, full Web 2 mobile plus Web 3 integration, 80% revenue share for Sura, deep integration for the Courage. There's the Sura Arena, co-branded multiplayer, 80% of all event sponsorship, hosted. See, so this is a nice pitch, eh? Hey, Johan, what do you think of my pitch?
Very nice.
Huh?
I mean,
months.
we are.
I did this while I was listening to you. See, I listen to Johan Richards. I listen to him.
I mean, in the philanthropical sense, Andrew, I mean, do we need any revenue ourselves?
Well, I
As
don't
long as
know.
we can spend the revenue, we don't need it for ourselves. You just spend it on.
I mean, Rob,
if you're only giving them 80%, there's still 20% to be given, Andrew. You got to look at it, holistically.
Yes. Is it a glass 3/4 full or a glass?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a glass
Very good question,
80%
Jason.
full
Very
or
good question.
20% empty?
Exactly.
Yeah, look at this. You see now it left out, like what we were telling these guys is it's a 500K partnership, 50K per month with weekly thingies, but it's not in here. You see, so
did you feed it my doc as well or not yet?
okay. Whoa! Where's your doc? Is that what you sent me while we were
yeah.
talking?
Yeah. So if you download that, you dump it into your gem.
This is actually really clean. I'm gonna give you an entire set of info. Like I love the colors, dude. Like what the?
It's their colors. Yeah, it's their colors that I. Why doesn't it have a?
I'll introduce you to the Google Studio tomorrow, Andrew.
Oh, is that even better than this?
It's like gems plus.
Oh,
So
geez.
You can even ask this thing to narrate it for you, Unc.
I'm just gifting George, who's now linked with me on LinkedIn, a 2-month free LinkedIn Premium. So see that.
Hey, how come you give him 2 months free, but you don't give me two? Thanks. Yeah. Who's George?
George Schwab.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have any more?
Yeah, we like free stuff. Hey, there's Lex. Lex. So, there's Mushy. So what we do here, Johan, because we're very cool, right? There's all the comments and stuff like that. That's what it looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, Johan. We're very cool here. most of the people who are here, see, there's Lax, but he hasn't been around as much as he should be, Lax.
I agree with you.
Otherwise, he would have had a song.
I agree with True, actually. Where's Lax in the arena chat?
Yeah.
Can we get as many wows for Lax as possible?
Yeah.
Like a
Everybody
wow
hit Lax with a wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, hit him wow.
There we go. Yeah. Let's go. Some all caps.
Big Rick on the
wows.
wow. Wow.
Love Yeah, you see
Beautiful.
what happens.
Wow. What enjoy with a wee. Funky chicka wow. But anyway, so we are very awesome here, Johan. What we do is we use AI for many things. And one of those things is we write songs for people who are here every day, Lax. So this song we wrote. Lax, you can't wow your own wow. Lax says if I was here every day I'd be homeless again. Fine.
Alfred actually sent a wow from Facebook just to join.
Whoa.
We go.
Damn, Lax.
Yeah, that's Auntie Vanessa.
Yo.
Hey, Charmy, where's the wow from X, bro? Lax even got a wow from Facebook.
Facebook. What?
Yoo-hoo,
That's crazy.
that's like from the past.
It's going to get a wow from MySpace just now as well.
Oh,
I
look
can't
at
write
you.
nothing.
Eh? What can't you what?
It says in full screen mode. I can't even give him a wow. I would have given him a wow.
Yeah. Lax, you almost got a wow from Professor Johan. Yeah. Okay, so Johan, one of the people in our community, her name's Mush Mullah, and like me, she likes to have a stew sometimes where she cooks a rude person. So this song we wrote for her, it's called Mush Mushy Mush 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 because her name's Mush Mullah.
Yeah.
There we go, Lex. Let's go.
She's
Man.
in Serbia, in loaded elephant park. Smile right or get cropped out. Now the funk fam knows it's mush mullah time now. Mush mushy mush mush mush. Paper elephant rolling through the groove. Hey. Mush mushy mush mush mush. Snap that frame, attitude approved. You should be kind, stay cool or your food ain't mush mullah. Don't play with the root bed. Mush mushy mush mush mush. Yeah, say it proud. Funk fam love got the whole world loud out. Click flash, she captures your soul up. Real talk, real art, she's in controller. Serbian queen with a coffee in hand. Shooting truth in the promised land. She don't fake smile, she makes them real neck. Every photo tells how love can feel, but test her patience. Come with hate, she'll eat you raw, clean her plate. Mush mushy mush mush mush. Camera flash, kindness in the frame. Mush mushy mush mush mush. If you rule, that's a risky game. Serbian chill, purple thrill. Ed mush Mullah's peace, but she bites for real. That mush mushy mush mush mush. All night long, hands in the air, that funky song. Yeah. Rolling through Belgrade, light just right there. She added kindness into every night. Photographer, dreamer, vibe set queen. Purple elephant rolling clean. She feeds the soul, not the hype, but cross her line, you the next type. No filter for fools, no love for fake. Only real hearts make the frame she'll take. Mush, mushy, mush, mush, mush. Every click's a vibe, every shot a truth. She's the root, feeds the real. That's the mush mullah meal. Mush, mushy, mush, mush, mush. Hands in the air, say it for the crew. Mush, mushy, mush, mush, mush. Good souls rise, the root get chewed. Yeah. Purple elephant rolling free. Photographer queen of the funk fam tree. Mush, mushy, mush, mush, mush. Serbia strong. Mush mullah love that eternal song. Smile. Be kind. Or end up in the stool. up in the stew.
Smile or end up in the stew. Mush, mushy, mush, mush, mush. Thank you very much, Johan. What a pleasure to have you with us. Everybody, no, not new songs. No. We've got a commitment. We've got to support Brandon's stream now. Okay, so yeah, bye donkey. Let's everybody say bye donkey. And then we're gonna.
Bye you.
Did you just
Yes,
say? Did you just say you want to coop a donkey?
Yes, we're gonna buy a donkey. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you, and that was very good. Thank you. We must do this again. That was great. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Johan.
So,
Thanks a lot. See you guys.
bless you. Thank you, Anne. Cheers. Okay, everyone. We're gonna jump over to Brandon's stream. Let's swarm that thing over there. I'm going to actually share it on Arena, so we'll probably just stay up here on StreamYard for a couple of seconds before we head over there. It's Jerry from Move Down. Oh. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here it comes. Share screen. There they are. Okay, everybody head over there. So we'll chat for about 5 minutes. We're going to end it here. Everybody head over to Jerry's.
Can we join through the StreamYards or not? Would we have to manually do these things now?
Rarity of their items, right? Oh yeah, it's happened like in the last day or two.
No, they're coming. Okay, I'm gonna rug our stream. Everybody head to Brandon's stream. Everybody, let's go. Potty mouth. Oh, we're in the stream on the other platform.